Okay, so yesterday was Rugalash Cullen's 17th birthday, Bella and Edward's weird little demon kid. Her official birth date is listed as September 11th, and this always brings up the 9/11 to 50 Shades of Grey pipeline, or more specifically, the My Chemical Romance to Twilight pipeline and the connection between the two. And it is my duty to explain it to you because this is actually based on a lot of misinformation. This pipeline theory hinges on this idea that My Chemical Romance was the inspiration for the Twilight saga. Now, this is not exactly true. People seem to have this idea that Twilight was Stephenie Meyer's My Chemical Romance fanfiction and Edward was supposed to be based on Gerard Way. This is not true. There is actually no evidence that supports that claim. Stephenie's origin story for her inspiration for the Twilight saga has consistently, since the beginning, been about her having a dream of the meadow scene and a sparkly vampire and writing Twilight based on that, having nothing to do with Gerard Way. Her original fan cast for Edward was actually Henry Cavill. But there is some connection between Twilight and MCR. Let me explain. MCR is one of many musical influences Stephenie Meyer lists as inspiration for writing the books. There's a whole section in the illustrated guide where she lists songs and artists that she was inspired by for different scenes in the book and different ideas from the books, and you will find My Chemical Romance in there, among many, many others. She's also talked about the song Famous Last Words by MCR, inspiring some of Jacob's writing. But MCR is not unique in being a musical influence for her. There's lots of artists that she talks about. The one that is most prominently discussed, even in this section in the guide, is Muse. She thanks Muse in her book dedications. Like, the prominent musical influence was Muse, not MCR, although she has mentioned MCR among others. Then there was this other layer that really kind of exacerbated the theory when MCR was asked to do a song for New Moon, the movie, and famously declined and talked about why they were not interested in anything to do with Twilight. Then in 2010, MCR released the song Vampire Money, which is allegedly a campy sort of reaction song / diss track to the Twilight phenomenon and being offered money about it, right? So that's how Twilight and MCR are linked. Now, how this traces back to 9/11 is MCR famously credits the formation of their band to the events of September 11th. Then the theory is inflamed by the fact that Rejuvenation Cullen, Bella and Edward's weird little demon kid, has her official birth date listed as September 11th, which leads people to believe that Stephenie was once again hearkening back to My Chemical Romance. Now, the interesting thing about this is if you actually look in the timeline of Breaking Dawn in the book itself, it seems to suggest that Remington was born sometime on September 10th, but due to this and Stephenie's production company wishing Racklebob a happy birthday every year on September 11th, it's fair enough to assume that Stephenie intended her birthday to be September 11th. Now, 50 Shades of Grey would not exist without Twilight because 50 Shades of Grey factually is Twilight fanfiction. That's not my theorization, it's the truth. Before 50 Shades of Grey was a book series and then a film series, it existed as a very popular Bella and Edward fanfiction called Master of the Universe, and E.L. James went by the online pen name of Snow Queen's Ice Dragon. When she got a book deal, the story was reworked a little bit and names were changed to become 50 Shades of Grey, and I have a whole playlist on 50 Shades and Twilight if you're interested. It's not subtle at all, and it's actually not the only book series that was originally Twilight fanfiction. So, theoretically, the pipeline is September 11th inspires My Chemical Romance, My Chemical Romance inspires Twilight, Twilight inspires 50 Shades of Grey, but the My Chemical Romance inspires Twilight part is really not accurate. But still interesting.